So apparently the best way to test a vehicle is to drive it off a bridge.
Oops.
Hey everybody, and welcome to my garage. Today we're going to take a look at the WPL B-14. This is the KM version. So if you'll look back, and I'll link it in the description below, I did do an unboxing for this. This is the kit. Again, the metal kit version of this. This is not the standard kit. So it does have some upgrade components. We're going to go over all the cool features of this WPL B-14. So let's start with the outside. The molding on this is pretty stellar. It is hard body, so this isn't Lexan or anything crazy like that. This is hard. What I'm going to say is ABS or some high nylon content plastic. I think it's really well molded. The details are good. It's got ridges in the bed. It's got light buckets in the front. They did a really good job. This is a two-piece, so the cab is its own molded section, and the, what do you call this thing? What is this thing called? And the bed is its own molded section as well. It's held on with just a couple of screws, but it works out okay. The fuel containers down here are also separate molded pieces, and they actually pin the whole thing together. It's a pretty ingenious design. There are some, logos and things on it that are pretty cool. On the back side, there's some WPL logo as well. It's got a lot of cool stuff. It's got a lot of nice molded things. It's even got a little winch in the front, which is kind of cool. Yeah, it's got all kinds of stuff. So let's get on to the mechanical components of this. So this is a leaf sprung truck. The way the leaves work in this particular setup is there is one large metal leaf, and then there are two small plastic leaves. It feels to me like the metal leaf is doing all the work. The plastic leaves are really just for appearances. So it's not like you can lose a leaf and make it a little less stiff. It's going to be as stiff as the single leaf is, which is not terrible. I've got some running footage going right now. You can see it flexing over some things. It's actually doing better than I expected it to, having looked at this mechanically. Also, being the metal kit, this does have full metal axle carriers. They are cast metal. It looks to be aluminum. They're well machined on the inside. It is a four-piece design, top, bottom, front, and rear cover. There are bearings in there, and there are solid steel axles. The pinion gears are brass, and they go on an all-metal scroll. The axles in this metal kit also are metal all the way. So in the front, you have metal axles that lead to metal pre-assembled universals that lead out to metal hexes to which the tires are just screwed directly. In the rear, you also have full metal axles that lead to metal hexes to which the tires are screwed to. There is no plastic. There are no CV joints. Nothing like that. It is great. Also included in this kit are metal drive shafts. They are CV designed. They have retainer springs. They're really well made. The transmission was pre-assembled, so I can't speak to the gear sets in there. It is a 2-speed transmission with a shifting servo. And there's a pretty significant difference between first and second gear. First gear is a pretty slow crawl, and it also provides a drag brake in first gear. It's an all mechanical drag brake. It's not electronic. In second gear, it gets up to a pretty nice clip. I'd say it's around 10 or 11 miles an hour. And for a small truck, that's pretty respectable, I would say. But there is no drag brake in second gear. So if you're going down an incline, you're going to go down the incline. Hence me driving it off of a bridge. Yes, I did do that. You saw that clip at the very beginning. I drove it off a bridge because I didn't have any drag brake, and I was turned at an angle, and I let go of the throttle, and there it went. This also has a stamped C-channel chassis with all the pre-drilled holes. It's really nice. It has some plastic cross members for stiffness. It does have plastic leaf hangers, which I would like to see them be metal, but I get it. It's okay. They'll be fine. And, mechanically, it's pretty sound. Electronically, I did get the upgraded sound kit in here. There is a speaker, and I decided to place that underneath the hood along with the battery. That I got with the electronics kit is a 500 milliamp hour battery. It is not gigantic, but it'll run this truck for a solid 30 minutes, no problem. And it did come with a USB charger for it that charges it pretty rapidly. I was surprised at how quickly it charged. I also did get the upgraded transmitter for this, which is a 3-channel transmitter for a winch, if you did want to include a winch at some point. It also has a shift selector and a button to change the sound level of the engine noise, as well as turn the lights on and off. It does have included lights, and these aren't your regular bright xenon looking lights that are totally off scale. They're actually yellow, which is really cool, I thought. It goes with the truck really well. It has a couple of faux light buckets. It looks like you could put LEDs in them, but they don't include any, and it's okay. The lights are just in the front headlight buckets, and that's fine. All in all, I'm very happy with the electronics kit. The upgraded ESC that has the soundboard, the motor controller, the light controller, all that stuff built in, and the upgraded transmitter, totally worth the little bit of extra money for that part of the kit. The tires are pretty decent in this kit. They are a little softer than what would come in the RTR. They're still a little bit hard for my liking, but they did come with pretty nice plastic military style wheels. They're not beadlocks, they're glue-ons. And my kit, since it was the metal kit, came with wheel weights, which is a really nice addition because this is such a light little truck. The wheel weights make a giant difference in performance. And like I said earlier, I am fairly surprised at the performance of this little truck. I drove it in my backyard course, which is what you're seeing the footage from. It went over a lot of things I didn't expect it to. I did have to put it in second gear a couple of times to get over some obstacles to get some wheel speed going, but it did almost all of that in first gear. It even went up the steep inclines, which I have 10th scale trucks, some of these back here, not the Gen 8 because it can do just about anything. I have 10th scale trucks that can't do some of that course effectively. You got to try a little hard. This thing just tore it up. It was great. It went through the dirt just fine. It went over big hills, hills that were bigger than it is, just fine. It crossed over some roots and some pretty big pieces of wood. It was impressive. I did let my kids drive this as well, and they didn't beat it to death, which was totally surprising. They're pretty hard on it. I have a 3-year-old boy, and he can really abuse a truck, I'm telling you. And he did, and it's just fine. There's no mechanical clicking. There's nothing that I can tell going wrong with it. It held up really, really well. Now, before I get too far down the road, like I said, this was a kit, and the instructions that came with this kit were on one condensed page. It was very hard to read. It was very small. And none of the instructions were for the metal kit. The instructions they sent were for the regular plastic kit, and a lot of what was in there did not apply to the metal kit with the upgraded components. So there was a lot of trial and error with putting this together. I'm going to say right off the bat, if you have never put a kit together before, if you are not mechanically inclined, do not buy this as your first kit. Go experience something else first, get a couple under your belt, and then go put this thing together after it makes sense to you. What may be a better option is to buy this as a ready to run. So they do have it completely pre-assembled, the plastic version, not the metal version. And then buy the metal upgrade components so you can figure out how it's already assembled, disassemble it, put the metal components in. It'll make a lot more sense to you than buying this and trying to decipher crazy instructions that are not specific enough at all. Now, I did get the plastic components in my kit along with the metal ones, and I will say there's a very big difference between the plastic axles and carriers and the metal axles and carriers. The plastic ones are not going to hold up. You're not going to get much abuse out of this. You're going to hit a couple of things and you're going to blow up an axle, I promise. The metal ones are terrific. They are well done. Hats off to WPL for the engineering there and including that for such a great price in a kit. I will say one negative thing in the testing, I did, as you saw, drive it off of a bridge, which was total abuse on my part. And I popped the rear leafs right off the hangers. And I didn't notice it at first. I was driving it and it made a horrendous clicking noise. I picked it up and looked down, and both of the rear leaf springs had completely come off the hanger. That's not this truck's fault, that is my fault. I would say that if you're going to build it, you probably want to go back and pinch those closed. I left them just the way they were from the factory, which is a little bit open. They're kind of a U hanger. I would say go back and pinch those closed. That way you don't have to worry about that happening to you if you do drive it off of something you're not supposed to. But other than that, it's been mechanically sound. It spit the battery out in that tumble. It spit the speaker out in that tumble. The front cab did come off of its mount. Just a little bit, but I put it back just fine, and you could never tell that it happened. There's really not even any scratches on it. So it's just fine. Totally fine after that tumble. This kit, it is definitely a solid purchase for me. The all-metal components are great. They did a really good job. You can tell it's all cast, it's not machined, but at this scale, that is perfectly fine. It is mechanically sound. The transmission functions great. The shifting operation functions great. The servos may be a little underpowered, especially for the weight with the wheel wells. But they're micro servos. If I needed to get new ones, I could. They're standard size. They look like they're plastic gear. That's okay. But the rest of the electronics are just fine. If I had to put new servos in it in 6 months or a year, that's okay. I can get some Metal Gear micro servos and we can move on. The way it is perfect for the price that I paid. And I did get this from the WPL official store. If you go purchase one, I recommend you get it from the official store. Don't buy it from Amazon or anywhere else. Go to the official store and get it. There'll be a link in the description linking you to this truck and the kit specifically that I got. Also, I will link in the description the electronics kit that I added onto this. Go get one. There's no reason if you're a 18th scale. Is this 18th scale? What size truck is this? It's a 16th. If you have 16th scale trucks, 18th scale trucks, 12th scale trucks, 24th scale trucks, you definitely want to add this to the collection. This is great. If you're scared of WPL because it's some Chinese company from across the seas and you're not sure about the quality, if you get the metal kit, I promise you, you will not be disappointed as long as you're able to assemble it. It does take it's a little frustrating to assemble, but if you can get past that, it is well worth the price and the shipping weight. It did take about a month from door to door for me to get this. And it was reasonably priced. The next step for this truck is to become something different. So it is a scale model, and I'm a scale person. So what I'm gonna do is turn this into something scale. I kind of alluded to this in the unboxing video, but I have some plans for it. And I'll go ahead and tell you what they are because I'm super excited to start working on it. I was a volunteer firefighter for a little while, and I got to deal with some of the forestry service trucks, which are kind of on this frame. Now they are 6x, or the ones we had are, but they do make them in a 4x like this. So I'm gonna turn this into a forestry service truck. So I'm gonna put a square water tank in the back. I'm gonna give it the paint job. I'm gonna give it the logos. I'm gonna weather it. I may give it some spray nozzles up front for grass firefighting. I think it'll be really cool. I'm super excited to have a scale model of a forestry service truck. So we're gonna start that process. Definitely keep an eye out on the channel for video updates for that because I will be doing some. It may be a little while until I can start paint work on this. I have a couple of other projects in the works, which you will see on the channel soon, hopefully. But yeah, we're gonna turn this into a forestry service truck. And then I wanna get some more WPLs and turn them into fun things too because they are great little cars. Highly recommend it. Don't be afraid to buy a WPL. Don't let people tell you that a WPL is, not worth your money and time, because it is. If you get the metal kit, it is perfectly fine. If you are an avid model builder, you will really enjoy putting this together. It runs great, and it sounds great with this electronics kit in it. So, highly recommend it. Go out and get yourself one. There's no reason not to. Don't let anybody tell you that you shouldn't. It's a great little truck. Don't be afraid of WPL. Encourage them. They are great. Thank you for watching, everybody. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/dadbodrc. Check us out on Instagram, dadbodrcofficial. Come hang out, talk to me, leave some comments. And if you want to leave a comment below about this truck and have any questions, I'll be more than happy to write you back about them. I will definitely answer all the comments. Love to read them, love to hear from you guys. But anyway, we will see you on the next one. And now for some random cat footage.